Alright, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Donald Trumpy Pants, has just proposed a 54% tariff on goods coming in from China to the USA, which could wreak havoc on your profits for your e-commerce brand. A lot of people are going to be panicking, but I want to share a few thoughts in this video on why I think this actually could be the best thing that happens to your e-commerce brand. Okay, so first of all, what is a tariff? Well, a tariff is basically just a tax on imported goods. So if, for example, you have a landed cost product that costs you, say, $5 as an example, so it costs you $5 for a landed cost of a product to be shipped from China to the USA. With this tariff, this 54% tariff, if it comes into play, you will be now paying $7.70 for the same product. And this is before you've even shipped it to the customer, you've even spent anything on ads, fulfillment costs, anything like that. And this could cause havoc for many brands. Now let's say for example, your retail price of that same product is, I don't know, $20. By the time you've sent it out with this new tariff on, your margins are going to get slashed, which means you're going to have less profit, less money to put into paid advertising and everything else. And with e-commerce brands, if you're instantly cutting off 30-40% of your margins, it's going to be disaster, and it's going to cut you to a place where you aren't able to do business. So then what is the next logical step? So I want to give you some thoughts on the coming shift that I am predicting anyway. So it's not really a supply chain issue, this. It's more of a brand extinction issue. So there's three things that I think will happen once this tariff comes into play, which it probably will. First, brands are going to increase their prices. And because they increase their prices, they're going to probably just lose sales, because people won't be willing to pay 54% more for the same product. Second thing brands might do is drop their margin, like I just said, and then they're going to be bleeding cash. So they're going to be basically running a business, or trying to grow it, or run it, or just stay alive, stay above water, treading water on super thin margins. And this simply isn't a long-term solution. And the third point is that smart brands will adopt and reposition their brand entirely, which is what I want to cover. Now, if you're currently bringing products in from China, one thought might be, well, what about if I find a new supplier in India, Vietnam, Pakistan, somewhere else that doesn't have these current Chinese tariffs on them, 54% tariffs? This is going to include probably a lot of other compliance laws with the USA, which is going to make you come into even more problems and probably just more stress and confusion. What it'll also do as well, which is the interesting part, all the people who are currently selling or like reselling cheap Chinese products on platforms like Amazon, they're going to get weaned out. They're going to get weaned out because they're not going to be able to continue selling, which is good news, because that really infuriates me, especially when I was selling physical products, private label on Amazon, because people would try and rip you off all the time, trying to undercut you, and it was an absolute nightmare with all these fake Chinese sellers. So it will instantly get rid of all those people, which is a good thing. The smart brands who are built on trust, these are the ones that are going to survive, because if a brand is built on trust, solid foundations of trust, people will continue to buy from these brands no matter what. See, when you have trust and brand equity and something that people buy into, people are actually buying more than just a product. Like, they're buying into an experience, they're buying into a movement, they're buying into a community. It's a dog barking, looking. Hi, bud. Anyway, they're buying into more than just a product. So what should you do now? If you're a physical products brand and you currently are importing products from China to the USA, how do you get around this 54% tariff? Because this will affect most people worldwide, I think, in the longer term things. First point, I would probably get very clear on your unit economics. It's like, really understand what your landed costs are, what your manufacturing costs are, what your retail prices, look at the numbers in great detail, and play out what this 54% tax would actually look like, or this tariff would look like. Then instead of trying to change pricing or like making it a race to the bottom, look at how you can raise perceived value. So if you are just selling a product, so that's what you feel like, take a look at your overall experience of your brand and your product, and look at how you can improve the perceived value to your customer. Are you like, does a customer journey for you just end at the checkout? So when somebody buys, that's it, they never hear from you again? Because we kind of have flipped that on its head, and that's kind of where the customer journey starts. So somebody buys a product from us at the checkout, and that is where we start to deliver wow moments. We stay in contact with our audience. We really want to make our customers feel like they are part of a movement and part of something more than just buying a product, because that's boring, and that's not how brands are going to survive this 54% tariff in the years to come as e-commerce brands in the USA and globally. We launched a brand a few months ago called Apex. We've done a few videos on the channel about it, and one of the ways we like made customers like wow and super impressed and wanted to buy into more than just our products, we had an irresistible offer of trying our goggles before people bought it. So we'd literally send the product out for free, essentially, and they'd have 30 days to try the product, and then only after 30 days would they pay the remaining balance if they wanted to keep the product. And then from there, we stay in touch with them. We even get on the phone with customers. We speak to them, get feedback, really make them part of our growth journey, not just buying a product off us. We've actually started making some more videos on this method of selling. It's called the Trojan selling method, and I will leave a link in the description below and up on the screen somewhere here where you can go and check out a full in-depth video on it. But this will go perfectly in line with these tariffs that are inevitably going to come into play. If you want your brand to survive in 2025 and beyond with these inevitable taxes and tariffs coming in, you need to grow your brand from a different set of rules and run things from a different playbook, which is what this video will show you and hopefully highlight. But I will leave a link in the description and up on the screen somewhere, so you should go and check this out next. And let me know in the comments as well what you think of all these tariffs. And yeah, see you in the next one.